Transformational Energy Solutions. So happy you're here as we read chapter 13 of Extraordinary You, Designing an Extraordinary Relationship. I can feel this one's going to be juicy. If you knew Jacqueline, you know it is. So, designing an extraordinary relationship. Extraordinary relationships cultivate and nourish the harmonic interaction between souls. We have already discussed our interconnectedness to all other living things. This is especially true and even more relevant when we look at relationships. You can't get away from relationships. They are everything. They are everywhere. And they come in every shape and form. There's marriage, partnerships, nuclear family, extended family, parent, child, bosses, co-workers, friends, peer group, casual acquaintances, and even relationships among strangers or strange relationships. The more frequent and deeper our interactions are with other people, the more significant the relationships are for our peace of mind, joy, and personal growth to create harmonious and even extraordinary relationships. Relationships have the potential to be the most nourishing, fun, exciting, and rewarding aspects of our lives. Relationships fulfill our basic need to relate, connect, and interact with others. Relationships evoke a host of intense emotions. Some are good, some not so good. But all hold the catalyst for our emotional, personal, and spiritual growth. Relationship is what creates the unique bond connecting us with another soul on so many levels. Mother Teresa said that love is the reason for our existence. For this purpose we have been created, to love and be loved. Love is everywhere. It is everything. It is our very essence. Love adds a new dimension to our lives. Love adds meaning to our lives. Love enhances our growth. Love enriches our lives. Love makes us feel alive. Love breathes passion. Love is the invisible glue that binds the universe together. Every human being has the desire to contribute to feel loved, appreciated, wanted, significant, and connected. And relationships hold the key. The quality of how we relate with people and ourselves determines the quality of our lives. If you want to live an extraordinary life, develop and nurture extraordinary relationships. Extraordinary relationships intensify our most powerful emotions. It is where we share and give the very best of ourselves to one another. It is the sharing of love, hope, joy, laughter, our essence, emotions, compassion, and dreams. A pure, authentic relationship is the unconditional giving of yourself to another being. Actively listening and asking for feedback is a powerful way to create and enrich extraordinary relationships. When you listen to the other person, repeat what they said so that they feel that you were actually listening instead of interrupting or mentally working on your next clever response. It's more important to be interested than interesting. In other words, be interested and curious about what the other person is saying and ask them constructive questions. When you demonstrate to people that you care about them, they will respond in kind by also being interested in what you have to say. Asking for feedback is when you ask people for their opinions or observations about you or something. It is a way to connect on a deeper level because it shows you that you care about what the other person is thinking and feeling. Extraordinary size 70. Once again, practice actively listening and asking for feedback. Ask the other person, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate our relationship? Ask about a certain time period, such as this week or month. If the answer is less than 10, follow up with, what would it take for it to be a 10? Actively listen for feedback. If needed, ask further questions or for specifics. Then thank him or her for feedback. If it is something that you are willing to do, do it. If not, then try to reach a compromise. This exercise not only raises your awareness of the status of your relationship, it also provides constructive steps that you can take to upgrade the relationship to extraordinary. On the other end of the spectrum, there are painful relationships that are formed with the focus on what's in it for me. These relationships are based on taking, getting, possessing, greed, need, and filling a void. This type of relationship, conditional, and focuses on bean counting, in which the preoccupation is more with keeping track of what they are getting out of the relationship than with sharing and giving. Unless there is some major shift, these relationships are headed for a swift and unceremonious burial. Challenging relationships. Challenging relationships are those that make us question our feelings toward the other person, question our commitment, and at times even question our personal sanity. In relationships like these, it is wise to remember that relationships aren't about what you can get from the other person. Rather, it is choosing to give love and to give of yourself to another human becoming without expectations of what you can get back. When you examine your challenging relationships, you may very well see that what you don't like about the other person is a quality that you don't like in yourself or that you deny about yourself. Our relationships are mirrors reflecting back to us our own beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, thoughts, personalities, and perceptions. Our perceptions of our troubled relationships are tainted by our thoughts and beliefs that the problem stems from the other person. In your mind, the problem stems from the other person's shortcomings, weaknesses, failures, faults, etc. But relationships, like life, aren't black and white. In reality, it takes two to tango. What is your role? You may be surprised to discover that what you hate or dislike about the other person has more to do with an aspect of yourself that you don't like than it does about him or her. Most likely, it is an aspect of yourself that you don't like or have denied, or a suppressed issue from the past that has presented itself again to give you the opportunity to heal. Asking or demanding that the other person change does not work, or at least not in the long run. Perhaps the other person will change in order to please you or to stay in the relationship. But with time, the other person will most likely come to resent you or rebel against you, or his or her personal unhappiness will take its toll on the relationship. The only true lasting way to cultivate healthy and nourishing relationships is to accept people as they are. This doesn't mean that you wouldn't prefer them to be a certain way, but it does mean that you accept and love them just the way that they are. A crucial key to extraordinary relationships is selection. You heard me. It is selecting the best candidate based on compatibility, values, goals, personality traits, beliefs, and whatever other criteria you feel strongly about. In the initial stages of a romantic relationship, for example, it is easy to feel ecstasy and euphoria. These exhilarating emotions go a long way toward convincing you that it is a match made in heaven. Of course, you are getting lots of help from a brain chemical called phenylethylamine. But when this wears off, and it can fade pretty fast, it usually lasts 6 months to 2 years. So can the good times. Phenylethylamine is referred to as the love drug because it is associated with feeling pleasure and mental awareness. It is a mood elevator. The falling head over heels stage is characterized by all-encompassing obsession, passion, lust, and a need to constantly be with the other person because it fills a need within you that makes you feel so darn good. This kind of superficial love feels so good because it fills a void. at least in the short term. With all that you have read and learned so far, you must have an inkling that no one else can fill the void within you. Only you can. The problems start when you lose sight of this and start to think that another person has the power to fill you, to make you happy, to make you feel safe, or in any way complete you. This even applies to friendships. In your desire to love and be loved, it is easy to lose sight of who you really are and what you truly want. In your attempt to please the other person, you are more inclined to project and behave in a manner that you think the other person will like, to become a chameleon of sorts. It is also quite common to project onto another person what you desire the other person to be. It's no wonder that with all of these people pleasing and projection and all of these guessing games that take place, most people have a very challenging time getting to know the true essence of the other person. You might put a friend or a romantic interest on a pedestal, expecting them to read your mind, to instinctively know what you want and need, and for them to give it to you. This is a perfect setup for failure. It is a carefully devised plan set up to get love based or on conditions, needs, expectations, and so on. After a while, the other person who at one time may have enjoyed being put on a pedestal may begin to resent the constant pressure and expectations that go with the territory, or he or she may get fed up with constantly having to jump through hoops to win your love and approval. Or there may be a host of other reasons why one of you feels the relationship is no longer filling the void. You are setting yourself up for failure, disappointment, and suffering. At some point, you may even accuse the other person of initially hiding or disguising their faults to win your love. In reality, consciously or subconsciously, you chose not to see those faults, most likely because you thought you could fix the other person. The desire to fix another person often stems from our need to heal a disowned part of ourselves, which we have projected onto that person. And when we fail to fix the other person, rather than acknowledge and take responsibility for our part, we blame the other person and often hightail it out of the relationship. Unfortunately, when we run away, we take our baggage with us to the next relationship and the next. This sets us up for perpetual pain and suffering until we go within and extract the root of our problems. It is a wonderful thing to love and be loved for the sake of loving, but needing to be loved is another animal. Need weakens us. When we see love as a commodity, we think that the other people have the power to give us love or withhold it at their discretion. This makes us feel afraid, powerless, and at their mercy, or it can have the opposite effect. It can make you feel all powerful, that is, if you are the person conditionally administering love based on your conditions being met. Either way, seeing love as a rare commodity or currency is the root of pain and suffering. It makes us see love as a thing, something outside of ourselves, rather than as what we are. We are all in love. Love can be interchanged with the concept of what you believe God or the universe is. Love is who we are. It is what we are. Love is all there is. It is not a commodity to hoard or to manipulate. Love is all there is. Therefore, we should extend it to everyone freely and unconditionally. Do you think that your happiness depends upon someone else's behavior? If only significant other, friend, boss, etc. would blank, I'd be happy. If only significant other, friend, boss, etc. wouldn't blank, I'd be happy. If you believe that your happiness depends on someone else's behavior, you are in for a painful and rude awakening, because not only are you choosing to put your happiness at their mercy, you are also handing over your power and your future. Fill the void from within. Love yourself unconditionally. Then and only then can you extend pure and true love towards others, as they deserve to be and feel loved. Extraordinary size 71. When you think another person is the cause of your upset, it is because you are projecting onto them something you don't like or have disowned about yourself. By projecting, I mean that you see in others something that you don't like about yourself and think it is the other person's fault or issue, when in reality it is yours. Think of a situation that caused you to be upset, angry, critical, judgmental, hurt, etc. What about this person or his or her behavior upset you? How are you like this person? If you truly don't see a resemblance, then ask yourself, what does this person's negative behavior mean to me? How does it affect me? How do I perceive it? For instance, perhaps someone you care about talks nonstop. You can't get a word in and it drives you crazy. You are more the studious, reserved, quiet type. So because you aren't the talkative type, you can't see how you are projecting yourself onto this person. You must examine what their behavior means to you. Perhaps it is that he talks so much that he doesn't listen, or that he is too self-absorbed. It may be that you are projecting onto others your lack of listening because of your self-absorption or preoccupation with your studies or work or whatever. You may have to do some investigative work or reasoning, but you will find that if something bothers you about someone else, there is usually something more than meets the eye. Once you recognize what irks you about the other person, don't try to deny it, justify it, excuse it, or minimize it. And most importantly, don't judge yourself. Rather, accept this disowned part of you, work on it, and make peace with it. In order to transform your relationships, you need to transform your thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and convictions. It is as simple or as complicated as that. You need to identify your negative convictions and beliefs that are detrimental, even fatal to your relationships. Here's a list of some of the most common ones. I'm afraid of losing a loved one. Relationships must be earned. I'm not lovable. Relationships are too superficial. I will lose my independence. Relationships lead to suffering. Love dies. Relationships are a sacrifice. Love is dangerous. Marriage is a prison sentence. People will see through me. Relationships are too time-consuming. People will betray me. It's all taking, but not enough giving. I will lose myself. Once I say I do, the passion is gone. I can't be myself. Relationships are too much work. I don't deserve love. Arguing is a way for me to get attention. Misery loves company. Relationships are too restrictive. Drama keeps it alive or exciting. Relationships are power struggles. You don't find love, it finds you. I don't want to settle down. Fighting is my way to connect. I hate commitment. I'm afraid of rejection. Humans aren't meant to be monogamous. You always have to be a people pleaser to keep others happy. This is just a sampling of destructive belief patterns that tilt the odds against successful relationships. Identify which are your destructive beliefs about relationships. Pay particular attention to issues that you keep experiencing. They may stem from deep underlying convictions that you have. The experience keeps repeating because you keep behaving or reacting in the same fashion. It is time for you to learn the lesson and get out of your own way. Move on. In the previous chapters dealing with beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and happiness, you've learned the tools to overcome negative beliefs. Please refer back to them as needed. The challenge with most relationships is that people drag around a lot of baggage from one relationship to the next. So when someone says or does something that you don't like, you rewind to the past scripts or stories that you have created and use these as a basis for making assumptions about the significance of what the current behavior or conversation means. You must understand that it is not always about you. The world doesn't revolve around you. Yes, you are infinitely important to the universe, but so are the other human beings who are also trying to work on their own issues and do the best that they can. Often other people say or do things without meaning to hurt you. Don't take everything so personally or make everything bigger than it actually is. Again, it is not always about you. Sometimes people say or do things out of self-preservation, ignorance, frustration, personal rules, habits, and so on. Running a current situation through your past history and dragging that into the present taints your current relationship. It creates conflict, hostilities, disagreements, distrust, pain, and suffering. When you catch yourself strolling down misery lane, stop. When negative things happen, don't immediately attack. Give others the benefit of the doubt. Train yourself to sternly say to yourself, stop jumping to conclusions. Then ask yourself, what else could this mean? Keep asking until you arrive at more constructive alternatives for what it could mean, or better yet, without accusing, blaming, judging, confronting, or being hostile, ask the other person, what does this mean? Or say, I'm trying to understand what was meant by this. I would appreciate it if you could further explain. Help me to understand. If it isn't a misunderstanding and you truly feel offended or hurt, communicate it to the other person. Express how it made you feel, again, in a constructive way. Politely request that they refrain from repeating it. For example, you can say, when this happened, it made me feel blank. I would appreciate it if you didn't do it again. Thank you. A whole lot of thought goes into relationships. Our thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and behaviors have an enormous impact on our relationships. If what we think is who we become, then what we think about our relationships creates the nature of the relationships. Therefore, you can choose the quality of your relationships. Choice is a powerful thing. Your conscious choice about quality, intensity, passion, intention, joy, and degree of your participation will greatly impact and influence your relationships. You have already learned about our interconnectedness. We are all related and co-creators in our experiences. Because we are interconnected, other people pick up on our thoughts, almost like frequencies. These thoughts, which are dynamic and interactive, affect and influence other people accordingly. Whether consciously or subconsciously, we are all active participants in our reality. Every moment in every relationship, we choose our emotions and our reactions with every thought, every belief, and interpretation, thereby actively participating and co-creating the reality of our relationship. It is imperative for you to understand that your thoughts are creating your reality. It is crucial for you to take responsibility for the role you play in the quality and circumstances of the relationship. What you constantly think has more power and influence than most people realize. I read in Marcy Shimoff's book, Happy for No Reason, that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. That's a whole lot of thinking going on. But what's even more amazing is that it's estimated that approximately 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. Even more shocking is that for the average person, 80% of those thoughts are negative. It stands to reason that this 80% of negative thoughts would have a profound effect on the quality of your relationships. Don't let your negative, pessimistic, disempowering, limiting thoughts hijack your relationships. Keep the honeymoon phase of any relationship alive and thriving by monitoring your thoughts and your feelings. Catching your negative thoughts as they are being formulated and before they take root is how you can make the distinction between ego-based thoughts and healthy spiritual thoughts. When you can stop and rephrase your language and change your thinking, by changing your thoughts, you change your feelings, which determine how you interact with others. As you heal your mind and your thoughts, you will feel a positive conscious shift radiating from your loved ones, even strangers. Extraordinary size 72. Remember, your thoughts have power. Just take a few moments to think negative, hostile, and angry thoughts about another person. Don't do this half-heartedly, but really get into your mind and your thoughts. Now, how do you feel? Now change your thinking. For the next few minutes, think loving, peaceful, compassionate thoughts about that person. How do you feel now? Your thoughts are so powerful that they affect how you feel about yourself and about others. Since your thoughts are so powerful, how do you think they affect your relationships? Do you think that your thoughts color and shape your perception of your relationships? How about the quality of your relationships? If you accept that your thoughts are dynamic and that you attract what you think, it stands to reason that what you say does the same. Therefore, don't make the mistake of dwelling on and criticizing the shortcomings of your relationships to other people. In other words, don't gossip, criticize, condemn, belittle, or badmouth the relationship to outsiders. Keep your arguments to yourself. It serves no healing purpose. Rather, it creates a huge disservice to everyone involved and to your relationships. The person you are criticizing will be upset to learn that you are talking about him or her, and even if he or she doesn't find out, you are foisting negative energy onto yourself and your relationship, which further antagonizes the relationship. Also, the person you are telling the problem to is caught in the middle and may feel like a need to side with you just to keep the peace. Nonetheless, while you are engaged in this negative exchange, you are both attracting negative states onto yourselves. You may feel better in the short run, but reliving all of this negativity will make you feel angrier, more resentful, and bitter in the long run. If you need counseling, go to a trained person or engage in constructive conversation with a person that you trust to discuss how you heal or to brainstorm a solution, but not with the intention to trash the person that you feel transgressed against you, get sympathy, or to arm yourself with an army against the other party. Most problems in relationships come about as a result of what each person is focusing on. If you focus on what is missing, is lacking, or doesn't measure up to your standards and rules, you are not only attracting more of this into your life, but you are also blocking love from flowing in. Your thoughts magnify what you don't want, and before long, the other person responds to your negative energy being directed toward him or her. This causes your relationship to spiral out of control. If you want to get your relationship back on track, you need to decide to take control of your runaway thoughts. Concentrate on discovering things you love, admire, and respect about the other person. Focusing on the positive will cause you to emanate thoughts, feelings, and energy of love, joy, compassion, peace, beauty, and harmony. This high energy vibration emanating from you will be picked up by the other person, affecting and enhancing the way he or she feels about you. Extraordinary size 73. Write a letter expressing how much your relationship with the other person means to you. Make it full of details about how you feel about him or her. Express your joy and gratitude for having him or her in your life. Describe how your relationship enriches your life. Include how your life is enriched because he or she is a part of your life. Openly express your affection and love for this person. Ideally, if appropriate, and if you can muster the courage, hand it or mail it to him or her. If not, then keep it in a private place and reread it often, especially when you have a falling out or about to embark on negative thoughts. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. That's a quote by the Talmud. Extraordinary size 74. Create a memorable memories journal. Keep a journal of memorable memories, special moments, priceless anecdotes, wild trips, hilarious screw-ups, funny episodes or pictures, unforgettable anniversaries, outrageous lovemaking, and anything you feel is worth saving for later. Recollecting these memorable moments serves to cement your relationships. Remembering and sharing special moments brings you closer together. It is a sharing and a celebration of your history. Here are some ways you can start the journal. What I love about us is, remember when, how funny was blank. Some of our most precious moments are, I loved it when we. The quality of your relationship is entirely up to you, whether good or bad or ugly. The quality or state of your relationship has always been up to you. So take responsibility for it. If you want a better relationship, then do better. How? By changing the rules. The problem with most relationships is that most people major in minor rules. They have such a plethora of conflicting and contradictory rules that many of them are bound to be broken and cause pain. A key to an extraordinary relationship is to cross out all of those meaningless rules on your list. You can mix and match a few of the examples of rules I provided in Group A with meanings you have made associated with them in Group B. Group A. If they forget to throw out the garbage, if they don't call me back right away, if they don't help with the kids, if he or she doesn't come straight home from work, if he or she goes out with friends without me, If he or she is working late, if they don't do as I say, if they aren't very affectionate, if they aren't very talkative. Group B, it means they don't love me. It means they don't respect me. It means they don't care about me. It means they don't listen to me. It means that they don't value me. It means that he or she is fooling around. It means that our relationship is over. It means that I have to get them back. There are a host of rules, too numerous to list in any book. But the bottom line is that the more rules there are, the more you set yourself up to get hurt. Trim your rules down to only the ones that are deal breakers. Deal breakers are the rules that you won't or can't tolerate being broken, such as I will not tolerate physical violence, or I will not tolerate being verbally abused, or I will not tolerate a lying or cheating spouse. These are the rules that add meaningful and purposeful boundaries to a relationship. These are rules that teach others how to treat you in a respectful, compassionate, and dignified manner. If you don't like the way that you are being treated in a relationship, it is because you allowed others to treat you in this manner. And worse, you let them get away with it repeatedly, without consequences. I'm not talking about the rare occasions where someone unintentionally says or does something that hurts you. I'm talking about repetitive behavior that's hurtful, demeaning, or painful to you. This is the time when it is imperative that you call the other person on it. This isn't a license on your part to attack, accuse, blame, or demean the other person. It's an opportunity for you to openly, proactively, and constructively communicate what you are feeling without playing either the victim or the aggressor. What you want is to clearly express your feelings and ask the other person to refrain from repeating this action. To not express what you are feeling is tantamount to condoning the behavior, which will signal to the other person license to keep repeating the behavior. Over time, this leads to resentment, hostility, anger, or even rage. It is better to nip it at the bud before it mutates, grows, and spreads into other areas of your relationship and life. Please also keep in mind that the behavior that is causing you grief may very well be totally unintentional or even unknown to the other person. And by simply addressing the problem, you can fix the problem. Remember, knowledge is power. Let the other person know how you feel. He or she may be relieved to understand what is causing the friction and to have been given the tools to correct the miscommunication and mishap. Streamlining your deal breakers is important because inevitably there will be a time when they will be tested. For example, perhaps a loved one is verbally abusive towards you. You have to address the issue, communicate your needs, and ask that it not be repeated. Then if it happens again a few days or weeks later, and then again, you have to deal with it. If he or she doesn't respect your deal breaker rule or care to make a compromise, then what? If you let him or her get away with it, it will in all likelihood become a pattern. If you let it slide, it is tantamount to having given this person permission to violate your rules and disregard your feelings. This is when you must take a cold, hard look at the situation and ask yourself if you will allow another person to damage your self-confidence, self-worth, and self-esteem. This means that you must respect, value, and love yourself enough to get away from the relationship. This is never an easy decision, but it is a true testament to your loving relationship with your authentic self. Before you can wholeheartedly love another person, you must first learn to love yourself unconditionally. This is the key to attracting and nurturing extraordinary relationships. When, when you love, respect, and value yourself, you transmit similar positive energy. You radiate self-love and self-esteem. And when you feel good about yourself, others will pick up your vibe. For the most part, they will instinctively know that you expect to be treated in the same dignified and respectful manner in which you are treating them. And believe me, when you truly and purely love yourself, you will be treating others in a kinder, more compassionate manner, because you won't need to rely on self-erected barriers such as criticism, defensiveness, hostility, or judging to protect yourself from other people trying to hurt you. When you know that you are a beloved child of the universe, other people can't hurt the essence of who you are. Extraordinary size 75. Build your confidence muscle by asking a friend or significant other for what you want. Most people expect others to be mind readers, or they say what they don't want. What you have to do is to express specifically what you want. This is a win-win deal. You get what you want, and the other person is relieved to know what you want. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get it, but your odds have just increased exponentially. If the other person can't or won't give you what you want, don't take it personally. At least you know where you stand, so you can empower yourself by asking again at a more opportune time, asking someone else or finding a way to get it yourself. Remembering number 1. The most crucial relationship is the one that you have with yourself. It is imperative that in every area of your life that you experience pure self-love, self-acceptance, and self-respect. You need to fill yourself up with authentic self-love. If you don't love yourself first and foremost, your other relationships will be a dumping ground for all of the other baggage and garbage that you carry around with you. Self-love is healing and liberating. It liberates you from attachment and detachment. Extraordinary size 76. Write love letters to yourself. Ask yourself, what do I love about myself? What do I admire about myself? What is great about me? What is my best asset? What is my greatest contribution? What do I respect about myself and the choices I have made? What great things have I accomplished? Meditate on all of the things that you love about yourself and journal them. Take a few minutes a day to affirm all of the reasons that you love yourself. No excuses. You can do it in the shower, while putting on your makeup, while shaving, while getting dressed, while commuting to work, etc. A few minutes a day can make a world of difference in how you feel about yourself, which will not only transform your relationship with yourself, but it will also transform and enhance your relationships with other people. Unconditional self-love is one thing no one can take away from you unless you're willing to give it up. Self-love is the most important thing that you can bring to a relationship. When you wholly, truly love yourself, you are more giving because you have more to give. Entering a relationship without self-love is like you asking another person to fill a bottomless pit a teaspoon at a time. No amount of their loving affection or attention will fill you up. This is an enormous drain, an enormous pressure, and an enormous responsibility to put on someone else. You are essentially setting them up for failure because eventually they will crack or get fed up, neither of which is very conducive to a healthy relationship. Love yourself first. Like attracts like. If you feel complete, you will exponentially increase the odds that you will attract someone who is also emotionally, mentally, and spiritually healthy. In order to transform your relationships with others, you need to overcome your fears. One big fear that most people have is the losing of the other person, whether it is to another person, to death, or to the death of the relationship. Once you understand your unlimited capacity to love and that everyone is interconnected, you can ease your fear of loss. There is nothing to lose because we are all one. There may be a physical separateness, but you can always love that person, even if you are not physically together. There is a famous quote that says, "It is better to have loved and lost than to have not loved at all." When you take a leap of faith in a relationship and allow yourself to experience unrestrained joy, happiness, and passion, you will understand that what was meant by that quote. It is far more rewarding to take the risk and experience true love than to go through life never experiencing the pure joy, blessing, and gift that love is. The fear of losing someone shouldn't keep you from relationships. It's bound to happen eventually. You will experience loss because everyone dies. It is just a matter of when. So the question shouldn't be, if I enter this relationship, will that other person always stay by my side? Or how long will this relationship last? The question you must ask yourself is, can I make the very best of every moment that I have with this person? Forget the fear and the worries and enjoy what you have now. Yes, it is possible that the other person may choose to end the relationship. This is out of your control and it will always be. If the other person terminates the relationship, you can choose to shift your perspective from one of personal rejection to one of strength. Instead of taking it personally, you can reason that it was good while it lasted. You learned a lot from the relationship. You are both better off without each other, or you weren't compatible, and so on. Don't take it personally, and most importantly, don't let it keep you from going back out there and being open to another relationship. But the single most important advice I can give you now, before you enter into a new relationship, or while you are still in one, is to enjoy the time and cherish every moment. A key ingredient for keeping relationships exciting and alive is to live, honor, and celebrate in the moment, every moment. Another big fear that many people experience is the fear of losing themselves in relationships. Love isn't something you hoard, measure, or can contain. It is everywhere. By loving another, you aren't giving up on your love, nor is love being taken from you. You are sharing the essence of who you are with another person. You mustn't fear losing yourself, because you won't. You can't lose the essence of your authentic self, especially not in a spiritual-based relationship that is based on mutual love, trust, and giving. You can't lose what you already have. Cultivate a healthy, nourishing relationship based on mutual love and respect, and you will both triumph. We already discussed the negative effect that your thoughts have on your relationships. Now it's time to examine your behavior and your words. You need to consistently examine the manner in which you speak to the other person. This includes your tone of voice, word usage, and even body language. You also need to check your hostile, angry, resentful, defensive, critical, belittling behavior. at the door. What you say and how you say it has a huge impact on your relationship. No one wants to be yelled at, criticized, accused, belittled, or attacked, so don't do it. Treat people with respect. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Communicate in a positive and constructive manner, and actively listen. Respond in a constructive, compassionate, and healing manner. The bottom line is that you should treat others in the way that you would like to be treated. Extraordinary size 77. Emotions in relationships boil down to two basic emotions, fear and love. This makes it easier to recognize what you are experiencing. When someone is speaking to you or behaving in a manner that you don't like, ask yourself, is this person coming from love? If the answer is no, rather than getting all worked up and stooping to his or her level, rise up. Rise up and extend him or her love. Yes, you heard me. Love. When another person is not coming from love, it is because they are fearful. When a person is coming from a place of fear, it is a cry for love. It is far easier to lash out, attack, retreat, or get defensive, but this just increases the other person's fear and erodes your inner peace, all of which escalates the problem. Rise up to the challenge and extend your love. It is not only the most selfless thing you can do, but also the most constructive, nurturing, and healing. Be patient, depending on his or her particular past experiences and beliefs. It may take some time for him or her to make the perceptual shift. When it is you responding, speaking, or behaving in a manner that is unbecoming, you need to stop and ask yourself, am I coming from a place of love? If the answer is no, then you are coming from or reacting to fear. You need to pause and reconnect with the essence of who you are, which is love. Reconnect, regroup, start over, and make amends as needed. Do not continue on the road of fear. The road to fear leads to a very lonely and isolated hell. Don't go down that road. Take a detour onto the road of love. Perceptual shifts. Awareness creates a platform for a perceptual shift in which you no longer take things personally or feel threatened, rejected, angry, or fearful. Instead, you perceive that the other person is fearful and therefore not coming from love. And now you are able to distance yourself enough emotionally to understand the situation for what it is and not for what you perceived it as being. This creates an environment in which you can change your thoughts and your beliefs. Now you are capable of consciously choosing your perceptions, thoughts, and reactions. For your information, just because you have experienced a perceptual shift in consciousness doesn't mean that others have. You must be patient with other people. When you are extending love to a person whom you perceive to be fearful, it is best not to try to convince this person that he is fearful and in need of love, or to accuse or judge him. This will create defensiveness, rebellion, distrust, anger, and defiance on his part. It is best for you to just extend your love to him or her. Eventually, your unconditional love may cause a perceptual shift in him or her, in which he or her will no longer perceive you as being the one who is hostile, angry, hurtful, threatening, attacking, critical, etc. Rather, he will come to perceive you as loving and compassionate toward him or her, someone that they can feel safe with and trust. How long this takes depends on past experiences and on how embedded the beliefs and convictions are. There may come a time when you realize this person is either incapable of or unwilling to make this shift. You must remind yourself that you can't make someone change who isn't ready or doesn't want to. Ultimately, for a successful relationship to work long term, both persons must make the shift from ego separateness to spiritual love. As difficult as it is, be willing to recognize when the other person isn't willing or able to make the shift. There comes a point when you must recognize that you have done everything within your power and that now it may be time to part ways. Communication. In a healthy relationship, open communication is the key. Create an environment where you both feel free to express your feelings, fears, goals, and dreams in a nurturing, loving manner. It is what keeps relationships thriving long after the novelty has worn off. Communicating, sharing, and actively listening are all critical. I'm talking about spiritual, active listening rather than ego passive hearing. When you are in the ego hearing mode, what you are hearing filters through your ego-driven agendas, insecurities, and fears. When your ego-driven hearing is susceptible to defensiveness, control dramas, manipulation, resisting, insecurities, and past fears, it will distort what the other person is trying to communicate, causing you to hear what you want to hear or think you are hearing. This obviously creates conflict and tension. When your spirit is actively listening to what is being said, it cuts through the distorted, defective filters to get to what is actually being said and the real issues. Spiritual listening focuses on actively listening and understanding what is actually being said without judging or taking what is being said personally. Spiritually based listening is nurturing, open, compassionate, empathetic, and healing. In challenging times in a relationship, it is important to be grateful and send positive energy to the other person and to the relationship. When you find it particularly difficult to be grateful, rather than to judge, criticize, and so on, refer back to all you know about the individual. Don't judge. Since you haven't walked in his shoes, all you can do is be empathetic and try to understand where he is coming from. Instead of getting angry or judgmental, take deep breaths. Get centered on sending them love. Focus on the good times and fond memories. Meditate and pray. Listen to what they are saying. Empathize with them. Support them and offer assistance. But most importantly, love him or her. Forgive him or her, and forgive yourself for everything that you said and the actions that you took. Love is not what you begrudgingly give. Rather, it is the sharing of the essence of who and what you are. There may come a time when you feel that you have done all you could do and still the situation is not healed. This is when you should surrender, not to another person, separate being, or thing, but trust and surrender to the divine universal essence that you are. Then take heart and give advice from the section on spiritual breakups that is at the end of this chapter. What a spiritual relationship is. A spiritual relationship is a union of the mind, heart, and soul. It is a union formed with the intention to give of yourself without expectation of what is in it for you. It is unconditional giving without demanding, expecting, or needing to receive. A spiritual relationship is a union formed with the intention of loving, respecting, assisting, nurturing, encouraging, accepting, supporting, and caring for another. It is spiritually based with the intention of lovingly assist in the spiritual, personal, emotional, mental, and physical growth of one's partner. Spiritual relationships are loving retreats where one can go for support, connection, love, sanctuary, nourishment, compassion, truth, and forgiveness. Spiritual relationships are opportunities to experience and learn lessons. This is a big reason why opposites attract. If you repeatedly attract certain types of personalities into your life, examine why. There is most definitely a lesson to be learned from the type of people you are attracting. If you attract unsavory individuals, ask yourself, what is the lesson? Once you recognize the lesson and heal, you can graduate and move on. By the way, you most certainly can learn lessons from positive influences in your life. If you keep attracting jolly, comedic types into your life, perhaps it's because like attracts like. But it could also be that you need to loosen up and take a more humorous approach to life. Every relationship offers an opportunity to heal a disowned part of yourself. It is a vehicle for spiritual and personal growth. Now, whether you choose to learn the lesson is not up to you. Life lessons are everywhere. You just have to be open to them. Healthy relationships are based on love and compassion. Spiritual relationships are the ideal that everyone desires, and they can be manifested by nurturing a mutual intention toward creating a spiritual relationship based on unconditional love and trust, and actively and respectfully listening to each other. Cultivating and nourishing a spiritual relationship not only can empower us, it can also heal us. Love heals all. Go within to your source, your creator, to tap into your essence. Your essence is love. Unconditional love is the prescription for whatever ails your relationship. Unconditional love has no room for ego. It is about acceptance, forgiveness, and compassion without trying to change another person. This creates an atmosphere of oneness, of pure, unadulterated love and inner peace. Genuine love strengthens, empowers, and enriches one's life. Genuine love is long-lasting, not just through the good times, but also through the lean times, in sickness and in health. Forgiveness, kindness, gratitude, sincerity, kindness, integrity, serving, surrendering, and communicating are all aspects of a genuine and lasting relationship. Spiritual relationships are about more than superficially gathering or hanging out. Spiritual relationships are deeply connected, emotionally complex and challenging, yet stimulating, intensely fulfilling, and multidimensional in the way that they enrich the quality and the intensity of one's life. Finally, in a spiritual relationship, there is mutual love and support. The key word is mutual. It promotes an environment where both people feel free to grow, mature, and be their authentic selves. This is very important, especially for women who are more apt to see themselves as nurturers and caretakers. You must ask yourself, do I love myself when I am with this person? Am I true to my authentic self when I am with this person? I'm perfectly okay to compromise and even sacrifice for the other person. Just be sure that the other person reciprocates accordingly. It is important to the long-term health of the relationship that it is spiritual give and take, and not lopsided one way or the other. And finally, spiritual relationships are between two people who have attracted each other and synced themselves on the same energy frequency. There is an energy connection that binds them, a vibrational electricity that fuses their souls to connect and bond for spiritual growth. What a spiritual relationship isn't. Having already looked at what a spiritual relationship is, you can surmise what it isn't. A spiritual relationship isn't about having an attitude of what's in it for me. It isn't an ego-based relationship founded on getting and taking. It isn't a place you go to change the other person, to manipulate, control, victimize, demand, belittle, criticize, or give ultimatums. It isn't a place where passion, carnal pleasures, and sex are the only glue keeping the relationship alive. It isn't a place for dependency, addiction, or obsession with another person. It isn't a dumping ground for all of your disappointments, failures, fears, shortcomings, insecurities, conflicts, unhappiness, old baggage, and prejudices. It isn't a place that you enter expecting someone else to magically fix you, or expecting someone else to magically fix you, or expecting someone to use as a scapegoat. It isn't about withholding love, forgiveness, sex, material things, or affection in exchange for getting your way. Most importantly, a spiritual relationship is not based on ego. There's no need to feed or fear our inner demons by cultivating illusionary ego-based relationships. After all, ego is where all these problems stem from anyway. The above are examples not of authentic love, but of counterfeit love. Counterfeit love is not only inauthentic, but it is also destructive, detrimental, and painful. Counterfeit love is the exact opposite of authentic spiritual love. Design your ideal mate. If you are not in a romantic relationship, or even if you are failing to make new friends, it could be because your past relationships have tanked. And now you are afraid to get hurt again, to commit again, to fail again, to get rejected again, to get disappointed again, or to get another broken heart. I've got news for you. This is short-sighted thinking. Sure, you can become a hermit. Avoid relationships and shield your heart from getting hurt again. But in the long run, you are only giving to yourself the very thing that you are trying to protect yourself from: pain. In the long run, your self-imposed isolation will cause you more grief and pain than what another person could. Because when you stop relating, connecting, and loving, you stop living. To not experience love is the saddest, most pitiful, most lamenting thing for a human. It is tantamount to being a walking corpse. Living among the dead is not a recipe for an extraordinary life, not even a mediocre one. Take away love, and our earth is a tomb. I'm going to read that one more time. Take away love, and our earth is a tomb, by Robert Browning. Even if you have been burned in the dating game and think you aren't looking for another romantic relationship, so why bother designing an ideal mate? You need to complete this extraordinary size. Why? Because when you are least looking for love, it might hit you and sweep you off of your feet. And if you don't know what you require in a healthy, authentic relationship, you might fall for another heartbreaker by mistaking lust, hormones, sexual attraction, chemistry, and passion for authentic love. Extraordinary size 78. Sit in a rocking chair or another comfortable chair and put on some relaxing music. Now ask yourself these questions. What would my ideal mate's personality, interests, and character be like? What would my ideal mate's beliefs and principles be like? What would my ideal mate look like? What would my ideal mate be like? Jot down everything you would like in a mate. Be as candid as possible. This is your ideal mate, so fantasize. If size matters, then put it down. Don't leave anything out of your ideal mate wish list. Clarity serves as a filtering system to assist in your search. Once you have created your list, release any attachment to the need of attracting your ideal mate within a certain time frame or in a particular manner, and most definitely release any attachment to a particular individual. This just creates anxiety. When you come from a desperation or scarcity consciousness, you delay or repel the very thing that you are trying to attract. I know with certainty that I designed my soulmate, George Abadante, when I was just a teenager and without having a real reference for what I was doing. I remember being around 14 years old in my room, creating a very detailed list of what I wanted in a man. I vividly remember creating it, reciting it occasionally, and praying that I would attract this ideal mate. At the time, I had no idea how prophetic it would be. I met George years later, and he immediately knew that I was the one. Even though I was very cautious, I quickly realized that he was my soulmate. Sometime later in our relationship, I stumbled across the list I had made as a teenager of my ideal mate. I cross-referenced my inventory of my ideal man wish list with George, and I kid you not, he had almost every single personality trait, character trait, and physical trait that I listed. One exception was a particular sports car, which he later gave to me as a present. As a teenager, I hadn't had the foresight. Some moments just come up. As a teenager, when moments come up, we need to feel them. And behind it, there's just so much love. So much love. It was funny because I'm just going to put in a side note here. As I thought about Jacqueline and her little Mercedes convertible, I remember our times in Sedona. I remember driving to Las Vegas with her for a training. I remember teaching her how to use cruise control, teaching her comforting her as she felt scared to pass a semi-truck. She was such a beautiful human being. So thank you for allowing me to take a moment, and gratitude and love to George. for giving her that joy because she loved that car so much. Okay. As a teenager, I hadn't had the foresight to create a deal breaker list. Thankfully, the universe was watching out for me because there weren't many deal breakers. George turned out not to be my forever ideal mate, though he was and remains a blessing. And he was until her last breath. And just reading this, just knowing that she passed away, she did meet her soulmate. Because George was her soulmate. And that's so beautiful. Okay. A love story. Okay. If this teenage girl, without specific guidelines or tools, designed and attracted her soulmate, then you can too. Imagine what you can do if you choose to apply the principles of clarity, expectation, manifestation, prayer, intention, and gratitude. George and I had a spiritual relationship in which we were committed to stay together for as long as we were happy, in love, and assisting each other in personal and spiritual growth. Ideally, this would have lasted for our lifetime. We were diligent and passionate about striving toward our mutual growth and enriching our love. We amicably chose to go our separate ways, though continued to assist each other in our personal and spiritual growth. For us, making this commitment wasn't a cop-out or an exit door. On the contrary, it was about our willingness and commitment to unconditionally love, assist, and support each other in our growth as we continued to evolve into our very best human becomings possible. Deal breakers. List the qualities in another person that are deal breakers for you. Deal breakers are the qualities that you won't tolerate. Rank them in order. This list should consist mostly of major things that are important for you to avoid for your moral and personal integrity. Some examples are verbal abuse, not valuing other people, violence, and dishonesty. You are welcome to include material and physical traits that are important to you. If height, weight, physical attributes, or other restrictions or requirements are deal breakers for you, then include them. When you know what you desire versus what you require in an ideal mate, you will develop an awareness that will assist you in differentiating between the heartbreakers and the heartthrobs. It comes down to the expression that if you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. Deal makers. What are your deal makers? These are the qualities or things that are most important for you in a mate. Extraordinary size number 79. Go back to your rocking chair. Look over your list of qualities of your ideal mate. Make sure that you include personality and character traits that you feel will make or break a relationship. Then rate how important each characteristic is to you. Rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a deal breaker and 10 a deal maker. This will help you prioritize and fine-tune what is most important to you. It will also assist you in setting one candidate apart from another. For example, if you can't stand dishonesty and lying, place honesty at the as top of your list and rate it as a 10, and so forth. This way, when you meet someone, you have a list that you can use as a set of criteria that are important to you. When you meet a smooth-talking Casanova, before you go gaga, been there, done that, and lose all sense of objectivity, you can refer to your list and determine if any of these his or her qualities are deal makers or deal breakers. What is a bigger deal maker? What is a bigger deal maker for you? Someone who is kind-hearted or someone who is funny? What ranks as a bigger deal maker? Someone who is smart or someone who is sensitive? Below is a list of a few characteristics that you may find important to rate. This is by no means a complete list, as they say, different strokes for different folks. Honesty, sense of humor, responsibility, wisdom, compassion, dependability, worth ethic, logic, kindness, sensitivity, seriousness, generosity, spirituality, romance, loyalty, skills, social skills, faithfulness, soft-spokenness, thoughtfulness, ambition, courage, confidence, humility, supportiveness, patience, respect, sensuousness, affection, fairness, grace, gratitude, adventurousness, sweetness, integrity. Now, before you get all dolled up and fired up to search for your significant other, first look in the mirror. That's right, look in the mirror. Is the image you see in the mirror your best friend and lover? You first need to be your very own best friend and lover to yourself before you can truly and wholeheartedly love another person. If you don't first develop and nurture a love affair with yourself, then you can't make a pure, healthy, and enriching contribution to a relationship. Until you truly learn to love yourself, you will find it almost, if not totally, impossible to attract healthy, like-minded people into your life. You learn to love yourself by taking time out to rediscover and reconnect to your authentic self. Make yourself a top priority. Value yourself. Feel worthy of doing the things you used to love doing, and of exploring new interests and indulging in luxurious treats. In the beginning, you may feel uncomfortable or selfish for spending valuable time and money on yourself. Indulge anyway. This is the disowned part of you, feeling that you aren't worthy, lovable, or deserving. This is the part of you that needs healing and love. Create affirmations and change your limiting beliefs. Act as if you deserve love. Eventually, you will begin to believe it. Extraordinary size 80. Answer the following questions. What do I love about myself? What would loving myself feel like? What can I do to convince myself that I'm worthy of love? What I value about myself is blank. I am worthy of self-love because blank. I deserve love because blank. Extraordinary size 81. Add to or refer to your list of self-loving deeds that you can do for yourself. You are welcome to refer to the list you created in Chapter 7, Extraordinary size 33. Every day, take time out for yourself to engage in at least one of these self-loving deeds. Once you are healed, you need to decide what you are looking for in a relationship. Is it a one-night stand, marriage, companionship, or just friendship? This will help you to focus on what you want and how to go about getting it. For instance, in a meat market nightclub, you will probably be a whole lot luckier at landing a one-night stand than a soulmate. If you are looking for a meaningful relationship again, I invite you to look in the mirror. You are probably thinking, huh? Not again? Yes, again, but this time, I want you to take a cold, hard look at what you have to offer in return. Remember, like attracts like. If your ideal mate is a fit male, Adonis, or a curvy Playboy bunny, but you are a sloppy overweight and don't respect your body or appearance, then there's a big likelihood that you are not the other person's idea of the ideal Prince Charming or Cinderella. You may need a makeover or possibly an overhaul. I'm not advocating transforming yourself into someone you're not. Just work on becoming the very best you that you can be. Either way, you need to love and respect yourself by nurturing yourself. Fortunately, if you have been doing the extraordinary sizes, you have made significant progress toward transforming yourself from extraordinary to extraordinary in every possible way, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now that you have determined what you want in a relationship, have done major inner healing work, and are actively aligned with your soulmate's energy, it's time to step up and put yourself out there. Place yourself in environments where you are most likely to meet like-minded people that share your interests, and those of the ideal mate that you designed. For instance, if you truly hate sports like I do, sports games and arenas may not be the ideal place to meet like-minded people who share similar interests. Your odds of finding a significant other will go up exponentially if you pry yourself out of your house long enough to meet another living, breathing soul. A tall, dark, and handsome stranger isn't going to come knocking on your door soliciting a date. It is up to you to advertise that you are available and looking. I'm not suggesting that you be so brazen as to put up a billboard announcing that you are single and desperate, although this strategy has worked in the past. Nor am I advocating putting your house and yourself up for auction on eBay. Again, this strategy has worked in the past. What I am suggesting is that you announce to your family, friends, and coworkers that you are single and interested in meeting someone. Inform them of what you are looking for in an ideal mate. Ask to be introduced to like-minded individuals. Get your tushy off the couch and go out there and do things that you enjoy. You may want to join clubs or associations, network, scroll through the classifieds, join classes, go to religious outings, wine tasting parties, singles cruises, or singles parties. Try online dating or join a health club. Go to places and do things that interest you. Socialize with like-minded people. The universe doesn't require you to manufacture your mate, but it does ask your assistance in making yourself available for opportunities to present themselves to you. For those shackled to a relationship. Just kidding. Well, maybe not. You may find yourself already in a relationship that you aren't thrilled with. Don't fret, all is not lost. At least there's still time and room to work on the relationship. It may not be the ideal relationship, but with some fine-tuning, you can vastly improve your relationship. For those you have found their ideal mate and are still living high in the honeymoon stage, you are not off the hook. I don't want you to merely vacation in the honeymoon stage. I want you to take up permanent residency there. So I still want you to complete the following exercise. Extraordinary size 82. Create a long list of things that you can do to rejuvenate, revitalize, and nurture your relationship. Here are a few ideas to get your creative juices flowing. Schedule a weekly date night, just the two of you. Love letters. Stare deeply into each other's eyes as you express your feelings. Schedule time to do activities that you both love. Go for nature walks or hikes. Surprise your mate with something he or she always wanted to do. Compliment, compliment, compliment. Appreciate, appreciate, appreciate. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Every time your mate walks in the door, drop everything and greet him or her at the door with a long, passionate kiss. Physical contact every day. This can be as innocent as a kiss, a pat on their back, a hug, hand holding, whatever it is. Physical contact enhances intimacy and connection. Keep the romance alive. Become his or her fantasy. Go stargazing. Take a vacation, even if it's a mini vacation. Be more playful. Pick pet names for each other and use them. Now don't just take this list and shove it in a cluttered drawer, never to see the light of day. I want you to read it, schedule this list into your calendar, and implement the items in your life. You need to live and breathe this list. This is your relationship's lifeline. Keep the line open and flowing by spicing up your relationship. Never postpone happiness until the kids are grown, until you have more time, until you lose weight, until you have more money, or most common of all, until the children have moved out of the house. If you don't nurture your relationship now, you may lose the opportunity to do so later on. I encourage you to create memorable moments, then take time to reminisce over them. Your memorable history creates an immediate bonding and connection. I recommend, as you were instructed in an earlier extraordinary size, that you jot down in your journal memorable moments and then schedule time to reminisce. It could be on special occasions such as anniversaries, birthdays, or Valentine's Day. Even better, create your own special occasions by penciling in reminiscing days in your calendar to celebrate your relationship. Spiritual breakup. As the song goes, breaking up is hard to do. Breaking up is one of the most difficult decisions. It is a painful decision that should never be taken lightly. Understand this, spiritual breakups first happen in the mind, long before legal proceedings occur. Negative emotions of hate, resentment, fear, bitterness, jealousy, or anger build up like a typhoon, wrecking your relationship. These unattended and unhealed emotions are the root of the problem. Hateful thoughts and behavior weaken and divide rather than healing and uniting. When two people focus and build a foundation on spiritual growth, healing, and love, a spiritual relationship blossoms from it. But when the relationship is more ego-based, its foundation is built on quicksand. What you need to do is truly work at transforming your relationship from ego-based on being spiritually blessed. If you can honestly say that you have both worked at it and given it your all, and it still isn't working, then you must look at alternatives. If you are still unsure about such a major life-altering decision, ask for guidance. Sometimes relationships are stuck in a cycle of negativity and pessimism that you feel you just can't dig yourself out of. Sadly, when both parties can't or are unwilling to make a perception shift, it may be time to move on and go their separate ways. I urge you not to break up, to run away, or to run to another person as a way to escape your lessons. First, learn your lessons. Learn to forgive. Learn to love yourself. Heal and assist in the growth and transition of your relationship so you can be whole and complete when you move on, and so you won't repeat the cycle by dragging your unlearned lessons and baggage to your next relationship. Breaking up is difficult enough without adding hostility, anger, resentment, and judgment. Check them at the door. You need to release negative and toxic thoughts, emotions, and conspiracy theories about your other person. Yes, what he or she did may have caused you a lot of pain and suffering, but it takes two to tango. If you didn't create the problem, you contributed by accepting it. Releasing negative feelings isn't just about forgiving the other person. It is also about releasing your attachment to the other person and a particular outcome. It is also about setting yourself free to move on with your life. Breaking up is one of the most difficult decisions to make, but once you make it, it is in your best interest to accept and embrace it. This means not wallowing in victim mode. Time does ease all wounds, and you will get through it. This is your opportunity to learn to reframe your experience so that you can rewrite your story in a way that empowers you to create your extraordinary life. You have a finite number of days to live, and you must choose to live them with infinite joy, laughter, excitement, and passion. As difficult as it may be today, there's always something better and brighter that the universe is waiting to deliver to you. If you just open yourself up, extend your arms, and embrace it. Love deeply, love purely, love fully, love joyfully, love unconditionally, love eternally, and love passionately. Love for the sake of loving. And I'm going to leave it there because we'll be moving into part 3, which is designing your extraordinary life, which comes next. I'll give you a little snippet into designing your extraordinary life because it's just part 3 overview. So you make sure to stay tuned. You have come a long way since embarking on your pilgrimage towards excavating your authentic self. This phase guides you in designing your extraordinary life on your terms, because the only way you can lead an extraordinary life is by being true to your extraordinary self. Some of what you read and some of the extraordinary sizes in this phase have been covered in previous chapters, but it bears repeating to assist you in the assimilation and processing of the information. You are not the same person that you were at the onset of this pilgrimage. Your personal growth has evolved and matured you into a more well-rounded human becoming, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. This will affect how you interpret and perceive the information you take in now. How you answered some of the extraordinary sizes then is not how you will answer them now. In this final phase, every chapter is geared toward excavating and defining what living an extraordinary life means for you. Included in every chapter are all of the integral components and attributes you will need to heal, implement, and incorporate into your life in order to design an extraordinary life. When you combine the authentic self you excavated with the passionate life you design, you give birth to an extraordinary life worth living and celebrating. Now it's time to design your extraordinary life. With that, I will leave us to chapter 14, igniting and tending your passion. With so much gratitude to our angel, Jacqueline Ortiz. Thank you, dear angel. We love you so very much, and we are so grateful for your wisdom and everything that you have brought to us within the pages of this book and our experiences with you and your videos and all that you have been in this earth and who you are now as one of our spiritual cheerleaders. So with that, I'll say goodbye to you all from my heart to yours with so much love. Bye for now.